Welcome everyone to the third TWitWoW Quarterly Q&A, both in general and also of 2023. We started doing quarterly Q&As this year, and obviously it is the end of the third quarter now, with it being the end of September. So we are doing our third quarterly Q&A, and we have got a grand total of, actually I haven't counted, let's see. There's 15, 16, 21, 22, 31 total questions for. Actually, no, there's more than that because someone else submitted that I didn't take into account that I should have. That makes it 33. Wait, I said 31, right? So yeah, 33. There's two more. So there's 33 questions for today. That's not too bad,
Not
right,
too
John?
bad.
Yeah.
Let's get right into it. What's the
Well,
first question?
our first question is from Abel, and this I don't know how easily you're going to be able to answer this, but I know that this is more of a question that's kind of up my alley. What are your fave five candies?
You can go first on this one while I think of my five.
Actually, I am recording two questions, so if you could at least stall while I do that, I could answer. But then I need
Oh,
time.
okay. Then I will say top five candies. I used to love Kit Kats as a kid, so I think we'll put that at five just because of the fond memories. Milky Way would either be two or one. I'm thinking one. Twix, I think, would be below Milky Way. M&M's would be at three, and Reese's Cups, I think, would be at four. But I rarely eat candy. But yeah, I think that would be right up. I used to love. I will say too, if gummy bears count as a candy, ooh, actually,
Yes, yes.
that. Okay, so I think I would keep Milky Way at one, but I think I would put gummy bears at two, and then just let's see. Okay, so Milky Way at one, gummy bears at two. I already said Kit Kats at five. I think I said M&M's at three. What did I say at four originally? I already forget what I said at four.
Reese's?
Oh. Yeah, Reese's cups. I think I'd keep that. Yeah, and just put Twix out altogether. I like Twix bars because it's pretty much millionaire shortbread, which is really good. But yeah, gummy bears are the shit. When I get stoned and we have gummy bears in the house, there's nothing like putting a big handful in your fucking mouth. It's great. So did you record the two questions? Can you
Yes,
answer
and we
this
are
question
good to
now?
go. Actually, no one's here yet, so I am going to make sure that everyone knows that we are here.
Great
By
first question, son. And once again, happy National Sunday today.
oh
Uh,
yeah, that is
love
today.
you so much. Yes.
Okay, so my fave five candies. My number one is probably still Reese's Sticks. I haven't had those in a while, but just we're just going all time. That's probably the peak. Those are the best. Number two, I would say Caramello. Number three, probably Skittles. Um, I'm gonna do a tie at number four between Lifesavers and Tic Tacs, just because they're both mints. And then at number five, I am going to say Milky Way.
Nice. I love how I have Milky Way so much higher than you do, but we both have it on our list.
I
It's
do like
pretty
Milky
great.
Way. Milky Way is good shit,
Um,
man. I'm a fan. It's funny because I think you had Three Musketeers on your list too, right?
no, I used to like Three Musketeers, but I didn't think enough of it to have it on the list.
Oh,
It
I
it is
thought
pretty
I
good
heard you
though.
mention it. Yeah. So basically, like the last time that I had a Three Musketeers bar, while I was eating it, all I could think was, "Man, this would be better with caramel in it." And it's like, no, that's literally just a Milky Way. So yeah, Milky Way is good shit.
Absolutely.
And I do like
Next question
Twix.
from
I do like Twix too. Not as big of a fan of Snickers. I think you mentioned Snickers. I'm not that big of a fan of Snickers.
No, I didn't mention Snickers because I never cared for Snickers much either.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
yeah. Okay.
yeah, so next question from Abel.
No, that was the only one from him, unfortunately.
Oh wow.
I like it much better. Like last time, I think he asked all 15. That was wonderful. But this time he only asked the one, and that was on June 29th. That was literally the day that we did our last Q&A, and he has not asked any questions since. So we're moving on to the only person who asked all 15 questions this time around, and that is Super Blue.
Here we go, running the gauntlet. First question.
Who would win in a triple threat match between Hulk Hogan, John Cena, and The Undertaker at WrestleMania? And who eats the pin?
I think Hulk Hogan may politic to go over, but I think Taker would actually defend Cena as being the most recent top guy and as the guy that's probably going to be more active as we can see him currently with the Bloodline and AJ Styles and all that. So I do think Cena would go over, and Taker would probably eat the pin just because he didn't want to deal with Hogan's ego and he's just going to do what's best for business. So I'm going to say Cena via pinning Undertaker.
And I'm going to say the opposite. I'm going to say Cena puts over Undertaker because they both just agree that they need to keep Hogan out of it, and Cena respects Undertaker enough to put him over.
Well, he did put him over at that one Mania where he got
Yeah.
squashed, so
Yeah.
there's definitely credence for your view. All right.
Yeah. Second question from Super Blue. 20 years later, how do you feel about the Mr. America storyline?
It was cringe, really. It was cringe, and it was, I don't want to say awful because I've seen worse storylines, but I really didn't care for it. I didn't care that it pretty much used Zach Gowen as like inspiration porn in a way. I still haven't cared for that. I do feel one day we'll get a wrestler with like a visible and like just explicit disability that's acknowledged that gets treated like an actual wrestler and not as a prop. And the whole thing was ridiculous. I think the best segment to come out of that whole storyline was the Vince McMahon lie detector test segment where he tries to put on airs of being compassionate and this and that, and the lie detector tests keep flagging him as lying. But then when he's like, I don't give a shit, I don't care about anybody but me, and then like that's him telling the truth. That was a funny segment, but the whole premise was just absurd, and yeah, I think overall pretty cringe storyline. Do you remember anything of it? Because I know you're always talking about like
Dude,
gaps in your memory
literally,
with
when
wrestling
I
stuff.
saw Super Blue post this, I was about to be like, 20? Isn't this more like 30 or 40 years ago? And it turned out it was from 2003. And I don't remember it, not one bit, so no.
All right, well, at least I feel like I gave a substantive answer, so that should be enough. Next question from Super Blue.
Next question from Super Blue is actually just for me. He said, instead of selling out to the SEC and getting owned for years, would Oklahoma and Texas be better off staying off in the new Big 12? No. Next question. If WWE is still around by then, do you think WrestleMania will take place on the moon?
No, no.
No.
Um, I shouldn't be one to just scoff at any technological capability or what have you, but that just seems like even if we had the capacity and the capability to do it, you have to think they would want to maybe build infrastructure. How much would that cost? Like that just seems untenable and unfeasible to me, even thinking 100 years from now. Maybe I'm being small-minded, but I
No,
just
bro,
can't
there's
see it
never
super blue,
even been a
respectfully.
WrestleMania
Yeah.
outside of the United States. Like, talk to me when there's a WrestleMania in the UK or in Australia. Then we can talk about potentially doing it on another fucking planet or, on the moon.
I will say, when they do WrestleMania on the moon, Cameron Grimes needs to main event and win the world title. Like, I will accept no other outcome but that one. So,
Dude, I'm sorry, but if there's ever the technology to hold a wrestling event on the moon, Cameron Grimes will probably be long dead by then.
unless they cryogenically freeze him to preserve him for that moment, like, hey, we're going to do the most unique push in WWE history. We're going to freeze you for it because it's not your time. We're just going to wait for it to be your time. I mean, hell, dude, if we're talking about WrestleMania on the fucking moon, I think everything's on the table. So, yeah. Next question from Super Blue.
Next question from Super Blue. Will Ukraine be allowed to join NATO or are they being used by NATO?
I think they'll be allowed to join NATO eventually. This whole thing has gotten me feeling all kinds of ways. I've really deliberately not spoken at length about the whole Ukraine Russia thing. Personally, I don't really feel comfortable with the existence of NATO because I feel like this is another like anti-communist appendage, and it's like the Cold War's been over for like how long and like what the hell. And then obviously the war on terror had a lot of controversies, a lot of human rights violations, and et cetera, et cetera. Any big organizations like this, I always am very wary of. But yeah, they'll probably give Ukraine membership. I really don't know how all of this is going to end and how all of it's going to change the geopolitical landscape. It's just, yeah, I don't feel really good about it, to be quite honest. But yeah, I do think they'll get membership. Do you have any opinions on this?
I mean, the article that Super Blue posted with this question literally says Ukraine will no doubt join NATO when war with Russia ends. So, like, I don't know why you need to ask us when you could just look at the article you posted and get your answer, man.
Especially when I'm presuming that that article is from a voice of a greater authority than two guys that talk wrestling combined. I
It's
mean, we
from
try and be politically
CNN.
literate. Close enough. But like we try and be politically literate, but like foreign affairs ain't our wheelhouse, homie. And like stuff like this is way above our pay grade. Next question from Super Blue.
How do you feel about the UPS and Hollywood strike results?
I will say I didn't know anything about UPS. I would really like to be filled in on that if possible. But as far as the Writers Guild, I know the actors I think are still on strike from my understanding, and I'm waiting for the Animators Guild to make a big move. But the Writers Guild, I'm very happy with those results. I think this is a watershed moment for unions and for people that are thinking about striking because now we're already seeing. I was sharing this with Ashton and his mom last night. CVS is going to strike nationwide soon. And I think people are starting to learn ways within the legal bounds of this horrid nation state to take their power back. Strikes work, unions work. I think what Adam Conover in his thread, which I posted in the Discord, it was a great breakdown of everything the WGA had won in the strike. I think the one thing he pointed out, which we cannot emphasize enough as leftists or leftist sympathizers, which I look at like, democratic socialists and stuff like that, is that when those in power draw a red line, like, oh, this isn't feasible, we can't do this, or whatever language they use, it's always because they don't want to, not because they can't. And that's the thing. They came to the WGA in the strike saying that the big things that the strike wanted, the big thing that comes to mind is just more regulation of AI and stricter conditions for the use and introduction of AI into, script writing and stuff like that. They're like, oh, that's non-negotiable. We can't. Well, you did. You made the concession. You had the power to. And so, yeah, never accept those in power dictating the terms of what is and isn't possible, because that's what put them in power in the first place. You can't challenge power when you're maintaining the same conditions that made that power possible. And the idea that WGA was like, well, no, you're saying it's not possible, but screw you, we don't believe that. We're sticking to our guns. And they won on every front. Um, I think is a testament to all labor power that's looking to really consolidate and really looking to make moves. I want to see more Amazon union warehouses, unionized. I want to see more strikes in your CVS's and your Starbucks everywhere. You've got this big auto worker strike, and I will say, as a man that hated himself enough that I watched the second GOP debate. I don't know
The
why I'm
whole
doing this to
thing?
myself. Yeah, yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
Oh
Um,
no.
it's pretty much the Impact Wrestling of politics. It's fucking awful.
That's
But
really insensitive to Impact Wrestling.
wow, let me take out my calculator to see how much of a shit I give about their feeling. Oh wow, I didn't need it because it's zero. Fuck you, PCO. Fuck you, Bully Ray, and fuck that whole goddamn promotion. Um, yeah, so I watched the second GOP debate just to get back on track, and they're saying about these strikers, like, oh, some of them tried to like have it both ways, where they were like supporting unions, but see, their language was always so fucking seedy and insidious, right? Because it's like, oh, we support the workers, but the union bosses are the problem. Pretty sure most union bosses are democratically elected within the union, okay? And like you need a figurehead to like represent those interests. Really, the worst union bosses, if you want the truth, are those that come from like middle management and shit, because they're always going to look out for their interests first, and then the people at the floor level always get fucking screwed. I don't know the makeup of the auto worker union, so I can't speak to that with any authority. But these GOP candidates that were like, oh, I support the workers or this and that, and then other ones were like, I think Ramaswamy, or as I'm really tempted to call him, Ramasmarmy, was like, oh, they should be picketing at the White House because Bidenomics. Why do they want to take names of Democrats and just shift it onto things? Obamacare, Bidenomics, like Jesus Christ. They're like, oh, Bidenomics has failed these workers, which that's a whole other discussion I'm not even going to get into. But the point being,
Dude, I can I
they
just
want,
say the
yeah,
Obamacare thing, it fucking worked. Like
yeah,
they actively got people to not want something that was in their favor because it was associated with Obama.
yeah, and that's really sad. Um, But you know that these GOP candidates want to break up labor power. They want to dilute it. And Biden standing with those strikers, I mean, symbolically, I guess it's something. Would have loved that energy, as Ashton, I know you yourself noted on Twitter, would have loved that energy with the railway workers when you forced them to accept a deal that only gave them one sick day when they were looking for 2 weeks. You piece of shit. So, yeah, I don't really care what the political class has to say about labor because labor is fighting to survive like we all are. We are so much closer to poverty than being millionaires and billionaires. And the more people realize that, the quicker we'll get to a state of class consciousness where we can actually do something about it. So I'm proud of the WGA. I hope the Actors Guild does just as well. And I'm especially rooting for the Animators Guild. And I don't know if voice actors are going to do anything, but the Animators Guild and voice actors get cheated the most in the system. And I really want to see them do something because when they get a fair deal, then I'll definitely feel so much better about the entertainment industry. But that's all I have to say about that. Ashton, I'd love your thoughts though, since you've been reading the same stuff. Like, I shared the stuff and I know you were aware of WGA. How have you felt about like the fallout of all this?
I am very, very happy for the writers, and I hope that SAG-AFTRA gets a deal similarly, on a similar level of just winning the way that WGA got.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Unless there's anything else you want to say, I guess we can move on to Super Blue's next question.
Super Blue's next question, which is, um, what would be the last straw for you to delete your Twitter?
Oh, I've wanted to delete my Twitter for so long. Like, I feel like that lost straw broke the moment Musk acquired it, honestly. I don't know. If he tries to change his pay structure, apparently that was only a rumor that he was going to charge all users for it, but they say that. I wonder if like the public pressure came out and it's like he backpedaled, just like I'm pretty sure he wanted to
You're
remove the
like,
block
haha,
feature.
just kidding.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. If he ever does try and push these measures through anyway, because that's how people in power do it. It's like, okay, you said no today, but I'm gonna do it. Kind of like net
Yeah.
neutrality,
Yep.
They kept pushing it and pushing it until finally, like, they got what they wanted because fuck us, I guess. So the moment that he really does push it through, because he will, because he can't help himself, that's when I will definitively delete, and I've been very upfront with Ashton about it. Because really, guys, the thing is, I could probably get rid of the Twitter today, and it wouldn't make a difference because nobody's used my pinned tweet for Q&As, which is the biggest thing I care about, and forever. And when it comes to disseminating my wrestling takes, I'm gonna be honest, it's wrestling. Nobody gives a shit. Like we enjoy it, we have fun. If I want to give opinions, I can do it here. I can do it on the YouTube channel. And I mean, hell, Ash and I even talked, when I've done separate recordings for the Discord, just giving further thoughts because it's the rare occasion where I'm inspired by something that could just go on the YouTube too. So I really don't need Twitter. And in fact, I'm better off without it. I used to have a philosophy one, and like I really was starting to like get more anxiety and like feel my mental health decline, having it, getting rid of it. And I had like over 1,000, like I think I had like 1,500 followers on it. I know I had over 1,000. So I had a bigger audience on there and I was really well connected, and I thought regret getting rid of it. No, no, I think the less social media you have, honestly, the better. Um, I only really like Facebook because all my friends and family are on there that I give a shit about. But that's the only social media I really use actively. I don't have Instagram, I don't have TikTok, and I really can't wait to just be done with Twitter completely, which I think will happen either before the end of this year, and I would definitely think next year something's gonna happen where I leave. But I'm gonna ask you, bro, since well, I mean, you've actually transitioned to Threads, so in a way, you've kind of like left Twitter, like you still have a presence there, but don't you really only just tweet like our TwitWoW stuff and maybe the occasional opinionated tweet? I feel like you don't use Twitter that much anymore since moving to Threads, right? Or what would you say your
To be
relationship is?
fair, I've never really been all that active on social media. Like, well, I shouldn't say never, but over the course of the last like decade or so, I would say I haven't really been all that active on Twitter or on any kind of social media. Um, but
Right.
yeah, like if anything would come out that would basically force me to have to pay for Twitter, yeah, I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
I'm
not paying
not.
for that shit. I mean, you can leave it as an option, and you can give all these little like, oh, that's another thing too. If they, uh, if they, what's the word? If they put the block function behind a money wall or a paywall, that's the word. Behind a paywall, that's me out as well.
Oh, dude, because I'm telling you, I think I've said this before, but let me just say it explicitly and on a recording for posterity. It is insane to me the bots that I deal with now compared to when Twitter was run by what was it, Jack Dorsey when he owned it. Um, like under the Jack era, as I'll call it, maybe I had a bot like every couple months or so, or maybe at most like every month. I feel like I deal with like 1 to 2, if not 2 to 3 bots per week. And like it just doesn't stop. Like it's amazing. I'll
Oh,
probably block another bot
Muskerton,
before this night's
you've
over.
created an issue for yourself to solve.
I want to bully him so bad, bro. Like you like I think bullying Elon Musk is my dream. Like I want to see him cry. And I think I'd get off on it. I'm just gonna be totally honest with our audience. You guys know what I'm about. Like, fuck this dude. Fuck this dude 1000%. But yeah. Next question from Super Blue.
Um, what is the difference between Kushida and Hikaru Shida winning their matches after getting blinded? Apparently, Kushida, this is back all the way back, dude. He still lingers on this. When Kushida got powder thrown in his face and he fucking no sold it and beat Marty Skrull, versus when apparently Hikaru Shida recently got like something sprayed in her face and got hit with a finisher and kicked out and won with a roll up of doom.
I at least remember Sheeta selling the blindness. I mean, was it still a bit OP?
I don't
You
know.
could
I don't
maybe make
remember.
that
I don't
case.
remember it at all.
But like, I remember her actually selling it, whereas with Kushida, I mean, that was so long ago, bro. Like, why? What is going on with you, dude? Like, what? Because legitimately, I haven't thought about the Kushida being blinded spot in years. Like, we've had so much like
I
other
mean,
wrestling since then and other events since then. Like, you
for
know,
just the fact that it involved Marty Skrull in a way that we were rooting for Marty Skrull has to tell you all you need to know.
exactly. Like, holy fucking shit, dude. Move on, heal. But yeah, I remember Sheeta selling the blindness, whereas Kushida, I don't remember him selling it at all. I remember him still being on offense. I don't even really remember Marty benefiting that much from the powder that he used. So that's the difference. Are they both OP? You could make that case. I'd be sympathetic to that case. But at least Sheeta gave the appearance of selling and being affected. Plus, like Ashton said, she at least ate a finisher and kicked out of it, but she at least ate something. Kushida, I don't even remember eating offense after the blinding because it's like, oh nope, I have super senses or whatever the fuck. So yeah, fuck him. Fuck Kushida. Next question.
Next question. How is jumping Minoru Suzuki before he does Kaze Ninare an unwritten crime when he's going to kick your ass regardless if you let him do it or not?
I mean, it's still incredibly disrespectful. I mean, that's just the point. Look, he's gonna murder the person, sure, but does that person also deserve to be publicly shamed? Yes. Yes. Like, how dare you deprive me of this? What gave you the right? What vested you with the authority to deprive me of this? Fuck you. So, yeah, that was a very straightforward question. I don't know why it was a question, but yeah, no, I mean, bury him. Bury him completely and unequivocally. Do you have anything you want to add to this, good sir?
Yeah, I need to. In my mind, uh, the person that's the victim of the crime of cutting off Kaze Ninare is not Minoru Suzuki. I mean, I'm sure he gets some enjoyment out of it, but he's done it probably millions of times by this point. The real victim of this crime is the audience. So when you commit this crime by cutting off Kaze Ninare, you're really wronging the audience. So if you're a heel, then congrats. You're getting here. It's free heel heat. Good job. You're doing well. But if you're, say, I don't know, a spineless cokehead coward of a promoter, and you decide to cut off Kazuninare because you just don't fucking respect Suzuki or the song or anyone, for example, then go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Next
I
question.
think that was very well said. Next question.
Is Trump really going to jail, or will the media coverage of this just be his highlight reel? I think is what he meant to say here. If he gets into the White House.
I'm gonna be honest, and this might surprise some people, and I'm only taking the lead on this because I've actually changed positions on this. I think he actually might. I'm finally starting to believe because I even saw recently that one judge found him guilty of like extensive fraud
Yeah.
and lying about his financials and stuff for over I think a 10-year period.
Yep.
So I'm like, this might actually happen. Um, In which case, I mean, fuck me. This whole thing, if I could just say as a quick aside, should really just show how broken electoral politics is in America. And it's been broken for a long time. I just didn't know that it could get even worse than what it was once upon a time. But yeah, the idea that we could have a convicted presidential candidate running, especially one as crooked and as just depraved as Trump is, and then you look at the rest of the GOP field, and again, I've watched both debates, so I've earned the right to say this. Fucking awful. Um, I can't get over that Mike Pence comment that you shared with me, dude, before I even watched the debate. And Ramaswamy, I just have a special hatred for that fucking dude. He's so goddamn smug. And he's trying to connect with younger voters, but he looks like such a fucking tool. Honestly, the least offensive to me of the group is Nikki Haley, but she's still GOP, so I'm still like diametrically opposed to her,
She's
like
pro-Trump
completely.
too.
Exactly. Um, so yeah, like they're all awful. And the Democratic side, I mean, hell, I don't know what happens if Trump just goes to jail. I guess they would go with the next person behind Trump, and it's a wide gap. Like nobody cares that he's going through all this stuff. The lead he has over the GOP field is insane. So I guess maybe it would be who is even in the lead behind Trump, dude? Is it DeSantis or did he get overtaken by Ramaswamy or something?
It's DeSantis.
Oh God. God, politics is so hopeless. But yeah, just to circle
I
back to
do
the
have
question,
good
I'm
news
sorry.
though.
Which is?
Well, okay. So I feel like this is a good point for me to just kind of say everything that I've been trying to say since you've been talking.
Sure.
So while Trump obviously has a huge lead on the GOP and DeSantis is right behind him, Nikki Haley is in third at this point, and you said that she's the one that you hate the least. So that's some good news.
Yeah.
And I'll also say that Gavin Newsom's numbers are really on the rise. Like he's really making an effort to try and get consideration for the Dem nom next year. So dude, I was legitimately like, I just pulled out the fucking FanDuel sports book, and I'm like thinking like maybe I can make a bet on Gavin Newsom to be the next U.S. president because I genuinely think that he's. I mean, obviously it's a long shot, but like I genuinely think there's a chance that that could happen for real.
Dude, I think the media thinks it too because I told you recently CNN did a big sit down interview with him. He's getting more
He
media
was on
exposure. And
he was on MSNBC last night after the debate talking about it, and he left a great soundbite that I posted in Politics. He said that the debate, the GOP debate tonight, was like the XFL. It was your JV team, basically saying like this is like your B squad lineup because everyone knows that Trump is the dude in the GOP right now.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, the GOP has nothing. When your best ideas are expediting the death penalty on mass shooters after they've already done the mass shooting, if you're Pence, I can't tell you because we need to talk about this too. And again, I know this is separate from the question. So again, just to reiterate, I do think Trump is going to go to jail, and I do think that's going to change the makeup of things a bit. We need to talk a bit though about how we may wind up in a war with Mexico. Because I have been really uncomfortable about how several candidates last night, and again, this is the only good thing about watching the GOP debates is that you realize how depraved these fucking people really are, even in ways that you might not have thought about. They want to put boots on the ground in Mexico like military to deal with the cartels. And like, how do you think Mexico is going to feel about U.S. military presence in their country? Like, that's insane to me. Because I think I heard Nikki Haley say it. DeSantis definitely wants to do it. And I'm like, okay, so that's a foreign policy disaster to me. Um, so let's see how that works out for you fucking guys. But yeah,
Well,
are you still of the opinion that he's going to jail? You think they're gonna nail him on this?
I think bare minimum he's going to go to jail for what he did in Georgia. I think Georgia is like the foundation of everything.
Right. All right. Next question from Super Blue, then I guess.
Um, let's see here. When will this country take the coronavirus and cancer seriously?
Well, coronavirus definitely isn't happening because I saw a poll only like maybe like a month ago that people afraid of getting COVID, like among white Americans at least, was 7%. Now, communities of color was a much higher percentage, but yeah, like white America, they're over it. So that's probably not coming back. Like the seriousness. Cancer, it's funny that you'd say that, Super Blue, because honestly, the occasions where like I am privy to conversations about it because somebody will maybe do like a medical industry thread or a health thread or whatever. cancer's at the forefront of everybody's mind. I think they take it seriously. I just don't think people that matter take it seriously. And maybe that's what you meant. And in which case, I would revise the question slightly that I think the government is starting to take COVID a bit seriously again with increasing cases. They're actually reinstituting sending free COVID tests. But as far as cancer, that's kind of a different thing, because I think you also have to worry about big pharma when it comes to that. So I really don't know. But what do you think, dude?
I am just really confused by why he lumped these things together like they're in any way similar.
Yeah, you're talking about two very disparate illnesses with two very disparate like trajectories, like genealogies.
Yeah,
Because
because like
yeah,
coronavirus is this thing where like it's this brand new thing that's only been around for like 3.5 years now, and we have a way to mitigate it. We have the vaccine, and people are just there are legitimately just a significant number of people out there who just refuse to take it, who are just intentionally like, no, I won't. Fuck you. And then they get sick, and they're the ones that are taking up the fucking ventilators in hospitals. Uh, that's the problem in my mind when it comes to COVID. Cancer, though, is like the exact opposite. Like, that's been around forever. It's been a problem forever. People have been dying from it forever. We have no fucking clue how to stop it. And yet, like, people are, like, desperately trying the kookiest shit. Like, everything is a carcinogen. Literally everything is a carcinogen. And it's like, oh, well, that can give you cancer. It's like, yeah, what can't these days? It's like,
that's why I stopped worrying, to be honest.
yeah,
Because what you're saying is 100% right. I'm like, fuck it. I'm not gonna like be immortal. I might as well enjoy my life while I can and just do the best I can. Like I've
yeah,
started working out more. I need to get better about my water again because I'm slacking on that again. But I try and do the best I can. That's all anybody can do. But yeah, and
yeah.
also Super Blue. I think it's important to note how slowly medical research develops, and that's not like a complaint
Well, and that's
against them
why
because
that's
I
why
think yeah.
people are so sus about the COVID vaccine. Though that's one of the reasons, because people think, oh, the COVID vaccine was rushed. It's like, no, it wasn't rushed. It was fucking prioritized. Like the country wanted to be able to get people back to work, so they actually poured their resources into getting a vaccine up and running. If they were to pour their resources like that into a cure for cancer, I don't know if it would be done within a year and a half, but it would sure as fuck be done a hell of a lot faster than it's taken them to do.
Yeah, you gotta, and I don't say this as a criticism, Super Blue, because I know you're asking everything like in good faith, but what you gotta understand is that this country's only gonna get things done that it prioritizes. That's why corporations are always okay, because when they're in crisis, they get prioritized.
Yeah.
If we prioritize the housing crisis, um, hunger, shit like that in this country, I'm not saying we would quote unquote defeat it, because I hate that kind of language, because that gets very close to like war on terror,
War,
war on
yeah.
why is it always war with these fucking people? I mean, I know the
We
answer,
should
but
fucking
whatever.
go to war with the rich.
Yeah, really. Well, hey, class warfare is the only legitimate warfare.
Oh
Um,
yeah, good point. I basically just said
but
that.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'm not saying these initiatives would be wholly successful, but they would certainly do a lot more than what we're doing now, which is nothing. And it just reminds me of that fucking video that I think Mark shared and that Gala and I were kind of laughing about when Fox tried to do this story about Seattle and homelessness. And they were just laughing at the Fox News people. Like, they're not bothering anyone. We haven't seen any crimes here. Well, I saw somebody doing drugs. Did they hurt you? Well, I was in my car. Oh no, you were in your car and you saw somebody. Oh no, like literally, a lady was mocking the reporter about that. And I thought that was hilarious. Like, you have no connection with these fucking people, none. And yeah, like I guarantee you, common people would love a change in the medical industry. We need changes in it, but until that happens, yeah, it's gonna move at a snail's pace. So if you have anything you want to add, we can move on to the next question.
Well, the next question is just for me.
Hooray! I love that for you.
Oh boy. So Super Blue wants to know what my preview and prediction is for what he's calling the last bedlam. I say that he's calling it, but I think that's the actual nickname of the rivalry game. It's basically the rivalry game between Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, and of course he had to add, for now, no thanks to the sellouts of Oklahoma and Texas, on November 5th in Stillwater, and he said Oklahoma State wins by 30. Bro, I'm sorry. How are you still this delusional, bro? Jesus Christ. Oh man, this is rough. So Oklahoma is currently sitting pretty at 4-0, and meanwhile Oklahoma State is 2-2. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume that Oklahoma probably gets the dub, and we can move on. Next question for both of us now. If it happens, should The Rock versus Roman main event WrestleMania 40 over Cody?
No, because that was Jey Uso's main event that he got robbed of. Fuck them both.
No, no, no,
But I
no, no,
guess
no,
if
no.
I'm
Yeah,
forced to choose
okay,
between the
yeah,
two,
okay.
yeah, yeah, you don't have to rein me in. I'm an adult.
I'm proud of you.
I would say just give Cody the fucking rub and get it over with.
Wait, no, okay, so I'm glad that I was saying no, 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 no. I was right. What he's saying is we're under the assumption that Rock Roman is happening. He's asking if that match should main event WrestleMania 40 over whatever the fuck else Cody's doing.
I mean, no. I still would say no if it's happening, which I'm not even convinced that it is, to be quite honest with you. But if it's happening, I don't think it should. Whatever my problems with Cody, like he's gonna be a part of the product more long term than The Rock is. That's always been the criticism. These guys come in, they do the match, and sure they may put the guy over, but then there's no follow up, and then it's even worse if they win, which I don't think The Rock would beat Roman. That I'm also sure of, so I'm not too alarmed if the match would happen. But yeah, like I don't like Cody, but he's a bigger draw long term because he's going to be doing more shows. He's going to be doing the live events, this and that, and The Rock's just going to be doing that one off. So no, I don't think it should take priority personally if they're doing it. So
Okay. I'm just going to say yes because it's The Rock versus Roman Reigns and it's a big deal and fuck Cody Rhodes. And we can move on. Next question. How would The Rock beating Roman at WrestleMania 40 be any worse than Cody doing it? I think you just kind of explained that, didn't you?
yeah, I just copy paste.
Yeah. So then, final question from Super Blue. Instead of Roman, who would be a better opponent for Cody at WrestleMania 40?
Better opponent for Cody at
Randy
WrestleMania
Orton.
40? Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I agree. I've been waiting for Cody to do a program with Randy, and because Randy's had the injury, hasn't had to happen. So, yeah, Randy would be my answer too. That's perfect.
All right. Next set of questions are from Cliff. First up, who had the better run of movies in their prime, Adam Sandler or Jim Carrey?
I would say Jim Carrey personally.
I
I mean,
fully
we could
agree.
probably prove it. Yeah, we could probably prove it mathematically just looking at overall box office and shit. But if you're just asking subjectively, Jim Carrey.
Yeah, because if you said in their prime, Adam Sandler's prime, I would say was probably like, let me pull up his filmography real quick. Boom. His prime was probably like Billy Madison to Big Daddy, maybe. I guess you could say maybe even like Billy Madison to Waterboy, something like that, somewhere in that range. So, like, what is that, like 95 to 98, 99 ish? And in that time, he put out Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, Wedding Singer, Waterboy, Big Daddy. Those are all solid movies, don't get me wrong. There are some really good movies mixed in there, but I don't think any of those movies, not a single one of them, is as good as any of the first Ace Ventura movie or The Mask or Dumb and Dumber, and those three all came out in the same fucking year.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, it's definitely Jim Carrey for me personally.
All right, next question.
What is each of? Well, this kind of really only applies to you because I haven't seen it. So he said, What is each of your favorite scenes from BoJack Horseman?
Oh God.
So since I
Um.
can't really give one, you can do two.
Yeah, I'll keep it to two. I'm glad you put a number on it because somebody needs to stop me. Um. There are so many, but you know what? I'll just pick the two most immediate. I'd probably change this answer on any given day. The two most immediate are season 4 finale, where Bojack is having a phone call with Hollyhock, who he thought that whole season he was her dad, Turns out he wasn't, and it's this whole like mystery because she already had like quote unquote 8 dads. It's this whole thing with her where she, there's like a bunch of guys that are her dad, like legitimately, they have raised her, they big house and all that stuff, but she's looking for her biological dad,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, BoJack is not it, and they figure out who at least the mother was and stuff, and the whole like kind of mystery there, and he apologizes to Hollyhock because at one point, his mom, Bojack's mom, was staying with them, and she was going through, I think, dementia or something, and she was unwittingly drugging Hollyhock's like drinks with like this weight loss supplement,
Oh, Jesus.
and she like starts having these hallucinations and stuff, and it's just really bad for her. And she goes home. Bojack feels awful about it because he really does grow to like Hollyhock throughout the season. They definitely develop a bond, and he's talking to her on the phone, and she's like, "Oh, I'm at the airport. I'm gonna go see, my real mom that BoJack had found for her." That was the big thing. Like he cracked open the mystery, and then he goes to the 8 dads and he gives it to her because like he wanted to do one nice thing for Hollyhock because BoJack's whole thing is he is a screw up. Like every good relationship, every whatever. Like he even says, like I'm poison. I came from poison. All this stuff. So they're talking on the phone. She's getting ready to depart, and he's like, I'm really sorry. I wanted to be a good dad to you. And she's like, I know. Turns out you weren't my dad at all. Good thing, she says as a joke. And he's like, yeah, good thing. And he's like, oh, could I upgrade your seats or whatever? And she's like, BoJack, look, I'm okay. I told you I already have 8 dads. And then he's like, right, right. And he's kind of resigned and sad. And then she says, but I've never had a brother. And when you've watched the show for as long as I have, because my friend Ryan got me into the show and I binged it, and you get to that fourth season, this dude, through a lot of fault of his own, to be fair, but he's eaten a lot of shit. And he has this big smile on his face to end the season that just melted my fucking heart. I'm like, protect that horse at all fucking costs. One of my favorite scenes, just because it's one of the few really genuinely good for this dude scenes, because he's always getting kicked and he's always self-sabotaging, and it's like it's just a genuine fucking win, and it's nice. The other scene, and God, there are so fucking many, and that's why I said that the answer would change from day to day, would be from the episode The View from Halfway Down, where the horse secretariat, who was Bojack's like idol, he really revered him as a kid. He even wrote a letter to him, and secretariat was like, oh, BoJack, when you're dealing with problems or whatever, you just keep running. You don't stop, you look forward, and you keep running. And then it fast forwards a few months later, where secretariat killed himself because he got embroiled in a kind of scandal, and he killed himself by jumping off a bridge into the water and drowning. And that's why he wrote The View from Halfway Down, which, fun fact, the writers of the show actually wrote that poem, and it's amazing. And it pretty much talks about the phenomenon that people who commit suicide via, jumping from a high place, whether a bridge or whatever, when they get halfway down, they start to regret it. And they start to realize, like, I didn't need to kill myself. There was always another way. And it's just a beautiful poem, and Secretariat gets anxiety while he's reading it because again he's feeling that regret. He's like, no, let me take it back, let me take it back, and it's like, no, it's too late. You have to go. So that was another really powerful scene. The show's amazing. I tell everybody, if you care about mental health, if you enjoy, adult shows that actually deal with adult shit that isn't just fart and sex jokes, BoJack is premium goddamn shit. It is so good. But yeah, we limited me to two. Thank goodness. Those are my two. Next question.
Next question. Boy, this is a hell of a lot less heavy. What are your top three pizza toppings?
I don't eat pizza that much, so I'm just gonna say veggies, peppers, um, spinach, and I guess when I'm feeling meat, like buffalo chicken. I'll put as like one buffalo chicken's pretty good on a pizza. What about you, friend? I think you're more authoritative on this than I
um,
would be.
yeah, I'll just keep it really simple. Um, I'm gonna say pepperonis, bacon, and I don't know if this would even count. Can I say hot sauce?
I would count it personally,
Then yeah,
but
I'll
I'll leave
say
that to your
yeah.
discretion.
We'll say pepperonis, bacon, and a hot sauce. That works.
Nice.
Fourth question from Cliff: what is the worst wrestling take you've seen on the internet this year?
This year.
Oh,
Oh
that's easy for
God.
me. That's so easy.
I try and avoid it these days. So what's yours? While I'm trying to think of one here.
Basically, any ignorant motherfucker on Twitter who tries to comment on Mariah May shit talking about how she's just a pretty face.
You know what? That's fair. That's I like that one. That's a good one.
It's like, tell me you
Um,
haven't actually seen her wrestle without telling me you haven't seen her wrestle.
I guess in a way I'll cheat only because, like Ashton, with like one or two of these questions, I'm like, again, I've tried to avoid it, and honestly, I try and block it out when I do see it, just because I think it's the most inane, pointless shit. But I think any take that feeds the overall discourse of AEW versus WWE, because I'm very much on the side of just enjoy professional wrestling where you can find it and support what you can genuinely support, and just like, criticize what should be criticized for sure on both sides. AEW's treatment of women, WWE's longstanding treatment of non-white performers, including apparently that might have been part of why Ali was released because they asked him to do some like racist shit.
Yeah.
So there's genuine good faith criticism, and then there's like tribalistic criticism, and the latter I hate, and I think any take that feeds the latter is just I'm nauseated by. So really, I guess I'll say succinctly, the AEW versus WWE like fan wars, that's just the worst take. Anything that keeps that war going is just a take that I find absolutely noxious.
Yeah, I'll also
Yeah.
add, as far as like worst takes and stuff, there are a decent chunk of people that I've been seeing ranking the MJF Brian Danielson 60-minute Iron Man match as like not only match of the year but one of the greatest matches of all time.
Yeah, and I mean, look, that's their prerogative. Just don't be obnoxious about it if people disagree, Like, because that's the thing. When I see people like defend their takes, but like with insults or whatever, it's like, come on, dude. Or, what are you doing? But yeah.
All right. Fifth and final question from Cliff. Who would you have win the 2024 Stardom Cinderella tournament?
Oh, I like that one, Cliff. Thank you. I'm gonna say Starlight Kid. It's
Dude,
always gonna be
that's the
Starlight
only
Kid.
name that I can think of, right? It has to be. What
Yeah,
the hell are they doing otherwise? Like,
Starlight Kid or
what are
Azumi
they
to
gonna
me.
do?
It's
Just
got to
have
be one of
fucking
those two.
Mirai win again? Christ.
Oh
I
God,
feel like
please
this
no.
year of Stardom set us back a year. Like this entire year of Stardom set the entire company back a year. Like everything that should have happened this year just didn't, and now it's going to just have to happen next year. And everything that if it could have happened this year, then everything that's going to happen next year is or that should have happened this year it would have happened. I don't know how to say this. Never mind.
Yeah, no, I, I think I get what you're trying to say, and just your
Basically the
exasperation
idea
on
is
the
that
issue.
everything that should have happened this year didn't. And so now it's going to have to happen next year, which means that everything that would have otherwise happened next year is just going to get pushed back to the previous the year after that. And it's like everything's just getting pushed back because this year set us back a year.
Yeah,
Like this year was so bad for Stardom because of fucking Mirai doing everything she's done and Tam doing everything she's done and fucking Utami and Kamitani's injuries. Like fuck.
yeah. Queen's Quest has not been eating this year, and that sucks. And I should say the Queen's Quest fandom has not been eating this year. My plate is pretty fucking sparse, and it makes me sad because I really thought we were getting ready to have an insane run, and I was fucking hype as hell.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So you said that was the final question from Cliff. So what is the next set of questions?
That would be we have one singular question from Sean.
Oh no, well, Sean is amazing, so I'll be more than happy to answer Sean's question, unless it's just for you, because it could be a sports
No,
question.
it's a both. It's a both. He said, "Whose rise was more impressive, Kofi Kingston or Jey Uso?"
That's actually a really good question,
I'm
Sean.
gonna just answer quickly because I think that this is a little bit easier for me, and you just said that it was an interesting question, so that kind of implies that it's more difficult for you. For me, it's just Kofi. Jay's has been more interesting because of the story than anything that he's really done. I mean, he's had some really good matches with Roman, but then again, who hasn't? Whereas with Kofi, I feel like Kofi was around for so long, and I never really saw him as a main event level guy. And then that gauntlet happened, and it changed literally everything. And from that point on, he felt like a main eventer.
I'm gonna copy paste everything that Ashton said, but I also want to tack on. So by which I mean, just to be clear, I do agree that Kofi's is more impressive. This guy might have been in the main event in like 2011 to 2012, but that whole Orton interaction, I think, really put the kibosh on it. And I think Randy himself has even like said as much, that he had a temper and he kind of threw his weight around in that way. So for Kofi to overcome that, have that amazing gauntlet performance, as you said, and then like get the people behind him so organically that Kofi Mania genuinely took social media by storm.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like I like Jey Uso. I respect him immensely for being such a successful singles competitor when I honestly thought he was coded to be like forever tag team guy. But let's also be real. He's gotten to work with his family. There are like nepotistic undertones to it, and I'm not like
Ooh.
holding that against Jay. It's just a fact. Kofi had to overcome so much more in terms of politics. Let's also be real, probably racial barriers because of WWE's treatment again of non-white performers, and just being perhaps widely perceived as a mid-card for life guy. So yeah, Kofi is absolutely more impressive.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to our next set of questions, which are from Rotten Butter.
Okay.
His first three questions are basically his first question because he used his first three questions to just say, "Yo, what up?"
Wow, he is a weird bird, or I guess I should say a weird stick of butter. Um,
He's
you know
here
what?
too. He's actually here too. He's in chat. He's been pretty active in chat.
Hey, love you, rotten butter,
And of
but you
course,
know it's true.
since you called him a
Uh,
weird stick of butter, we might as well just address that he was the first one to come in and be like, "What's Twitter? You mean X?"
we said what we said.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so, so I'll tell you what, partner. I'd actually like you to go first on this one for a change, because I always hem and haw trying to recollect stuff, and I
Okay.
know you sometimes do, but I feel like you're better about this than
Oh
I am. So you go
Lord. Well,
first.
it's the thing is too. It's 3 months worth. It's a lot. Like this goes all the way back to the beginning of July, end of June, basically. So it's a lot. It's a hell of a lot. So
Just do your best, man.
um, I know that we watched Guardians 3 together, but I think I also watched Guardians 3 by myself last quarter because it was in theaters. Blue Beetle! I watched Blue Beetle in August. That was fucking incredible. I love that movie. I cannot wait for you and I to be able to watch it. I think that'll probably end up being on Max in late October or maybe early November. So hopefully it's not too far away. We've been watching Wheel of Time. We just rewatched season one and then got caught up on season two. I think a new episode either drops tonight or tomorrow night, so I'm looking forward to that. That'll be the penultimate episode of season two. But we do know already that there's a season three on the way, so that's not far. We watched Elemental. That was a fucking incredible movie. Really, really wonderful. We watched The Little Mermaid, and that was pretty good, but not really anything special. I think, about what you'd expect from a live action Disney remake at this point. Um, we watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. That was fucking amazing. I loved that. I adored that. The funny thing is, I've seen now Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse twice. And the first time I didn't pay as much attention to it as I should. The second time I paid attention to it, and I can still say with no doubt in my mind that the animation style for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, in my opinion, is just far superior than that of Into the Spider-Verse. But I have to still give credit to the Spider-Verse movies because obviously those were heavily taken from and drawn from. Like those heavily inspired Mutant Mayhem, at least in my mind. Um, what? Oh, we watched My Adventures with Superman on Max. That show was absolutely incredible. Absolutely love that show. Wonderful show. The Wonder Years, which unfortunately got canceled after the end of season two. Super depressed about that. Very unfortunate. Love that show. Was Bel Air this quarter?
I don't think it was. I think Bel Air
It was
was
last quarter,
was.
yeah.
Well, yeah, the quarter prior.
Wonder Years was this quarter, though, I think. Yeah, that was this. I did watch just independently on my own. I watched like a season and a half of Smart Guy, and I'm looking to get back into that, and I want to finish the series off. I want to watch the whole thing. My mom and I have been watching a lot of South Park in our free time lately. Um, as far as games go, I've been like obsessing over retro games lately. Played some Pokemon Emerald the other night. Um, I've been playing Pokemon Legends Arceus on my TV occasionally. I have 3 stars in that. I've already gotten through 2 of the like I don't know what they're called, like the gold glowy Pokemon. I don't know what the name of it is. Um, I actually beat Pokemon Scarlet this quarter. I know it's almost a full year after those games came out, but yeah, I actually did it. That's the first Pokemon game that I've beaten since Diamond and Pearl came out in like 2006. That's fucking crazy, isn't it? It's been like, what is that? 17 years since I've actually beaten a Pokemon game? That's unbelievable. Um, what else? I mean, you and I have been doing a lot more of the Brawlhalla and Rocket League. We did both install new games that we want to start playing. It's Don't Starve Together is one of them, and the other one is Lost Ark. That's a relatively recent game. It came out like a year or two ago. It's not that old, and it's interesting looking. I'd like to give it a shot. Um, and yeah, Rotten Butter said it best. Spider Verse walked so TMNT could run. To answer your other question, Rotten Butter, we did not watch Spider Verse 2 yet, but from what I understand, it's going to be on Netflix imminently, like within the next couple weeks probably. And when it does go up on Netflix, we're probably going to watch it then. Um, Butter said, "Time for my now quarterly reminder to play Disco Elysium." Disco Elysium. What is that? A console game or is that a
That that
PC
was
game?
that was that was like a PC like RPG type game. And Rotten Butter, I will say to you, I'm probably not gonna play it just ever. And if I do, I'm gonna have to find a way to pirate it first because apparently the creators got done really fucking dirty, and I'm not in the mood to support that shit. So it does look really good. I'm just not in a video game mood outside of what I do with Ashton and occasionally the Discord gang. I'm very much more into my books at the moment and probably until the end of time. But yeah, I'll play it if the mood strikes, but I would just have to find a way to pirate it because I've heard some shady shit about Disco Elysium and its development. So yeah.
I will say, and by the way, apparently is also available on Switch. Disco Elysium, I mean, it's also on Switch.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Yeah. I've been my. It's weird because in my free time, the thing that I do the most, and when I say free time, I mean like I'm caught up on the news for the day. I'm caught up on the Discord and the wrestling news and the political news and all that shit. I'm caught up on all my YouTube videos and my Twitter and my TikTok and all that shit. And I just don't have anything to do. So this is what I would consider my free time. The thing that I've been doing most in my free time lately hasn't even been playing games, it's been researching games to play. It's been like pulling up videos that are like lists of every game ever made for the NES or the SNES or the Sega Genesis or the PSP or the Vita or like, whatever. And writing down or typing out games that just making a list of games that I want to play at some point so that I know, so that when I do get a PS Vita or when I do get a Wii U, for example, I know what games to download then to play so that I have them at my fingertips so that if I'm ever in the mood to play them, I can just be like, oh, I have that. I can pull it up and go. Because, like, I have my 2DS XL, and that has pretty much every Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, DS, or 3DS game that I could ever want to play on it. So anytime I'm in the mood to play something like that, like the other night, I was just randomly in the mood to play Pokemon Emerald. So I whipped it out and I pulled up Pokemon Emerald and started playing. I got my little mud kip and I started playing Pokemon Emerald. So like that's like the important thing to me is just anytime I'm in the mood to play a specific game, I want to just be able to grab my game, whatever console it is, and play it. And so that's been a big thing. And Cliff, that's another thing that I have done in the last couple months is watch tier list videos of Pokemon games where I'll pull up like an in-game tier list of like, oh, who are the best Pokemon to use in this game, and I'll even try and like make my own type of thing, like in-game party, like, oh, start with this and then catch that and replace this with that and then teach it this and make sure that you have this move on your team before you get to this gym leader and that kind of thing. That's like I'm always very, very strategic before I play games most of the time. I played a little Super Mario Sunshine the other night, actually, on a GameCube emulator on my computer. Not even on a console, just on my computer. So that was a thing too. Am I forgetting anything that we've watched, John? Because I feel like I'm out.
No, I feel like you got everything. I don't remember you kind of skipping anything. Oh, was White House Plumbers this quarter?
Yes, it was. White House Plumbers was not that long ago. That was just like a month or two ago for us. We watched White House Plumbers. We also plan on watching Class of '09, but they're just a little too similar for me, so I wanted to take a break and wait to watch that.
Yeah.
I didn't actually watch, but I watched enough. Like I didn't watch the series because I don't think I have access to whatever streaming service it's on. But I fully intend to watch Yellow Jackets with my mom. I really want to watch Yellow Jackets with my mom because I watch like recaps of it, so I have an idea of what it's about and what goes on, and I really just want to watch it with my mom because I know she'd love it.
Yeah, I still got to watch season 2 of Yellow Jackets myself with the fam because we watched season 1. So,
Yeah, Cliff, I don't know what kind of consoles you have. I think that you told me that you don't have a Switch, so that's kind of out, but I don't know what consoles you do have. But yeah, Super Mario Sunshine is great, and GameCube is pretty easy to emulate on most home consoles. So if you have a GameCube, then you could probably just rig it up to be able to play Super Mario Sunshine on it. Anyway, John, I think it's your turn to answer Rotten Butter's question.
sweet. Okay. So Ashton pretty much covered a lot. As far as what I do with my family independent of Ashton, we've done a little bit of the challenge. We've started the latest season of Love is Blind, and it is insane. Man, the producers are doing that cast so dirty, and they're also so fucking obvious because they just got out of a lawsuit recently that cast members were saying, "Oh, we weren't being fed adequately, and we would have to like stay up," because I think they wanted to like mess with them mentally to influence their decision making and everything, which is really fucked up. I don't think I really need to emphasize that anymore. But now, like this season, you're always seeing them like eating or having food or like whatever, and it's like, okay, we see what you're doing. But yeah, it's good content. We're enjoying that. Again, I think I already said the challenge, so that's been pretty good. What else have we been watching? We started Ozark, the final season. I know that's been out forever. We did the first episode of that. I'm starting to vibe with it again, but we're just gonna have to see when we get back to it. We did the show Bad Sisters. God, that was so good. I don't think it needs a second season. Apparently, it's getting one. I think it'd be perfect as just a self-contained story. But yeah, if you're looking for like a female-driven show that is just really grounded, and I like that it's in the Ireland area. You get to hear like a lot of Irish accents and stuff. That's pretty fucking great. Soundtrack was great. Turned me on to like more bluegrass and like alternative country stuff. It's closer to like Johnny Cash and a lot of the fucking stuff you hear today of like, blue jeans and pickup trucks and my wife left me and all I've got is the bar and all that fucking shit. What else? Oh yeah, we watched Idris Elba show Hijacked, which it's exactly what it sounds like. He's on a plane. It's been hijacked. He's a negotiator, but you know what though? It wasn't as campy as you'd think. As like I know they've done like other shows in that spirit. It was actually more grounded given the premise. I was very impressed. Um, Severance. Severance was the biggest thing my family and I did this quarter that I fucking loved, and I will say obviously just like I did with the Writers Guild, however long the Actors Guild, wants to take, you take that fucking time. But I really am going to be happy when hopefully they get their deal and it ends because of all the shows like, The Boys and all that stuff. I ain't gonna lie, I'm probably most hyped for Severance season 2. It is one of the best sci-fi shows I've ever seen. It's amazing. It's a scathing indictment of our work culture and late stage capitalism. It's incredible. If you guys haven't watched Severance, you owe it to yourself to watch it if you're into sci-fi. And again, if you're into those political and sociological themes that I mentioned, again, war culture critique, capitalism critique, et cetera, et cetera. The concept is unique. And yeah, Adam Scott's amazing. He was a great lead man in this. I recognize some other people from stuff that Ash and I have watched, like in it as well. I couldn't exactly place it right now, and I'm not trying to waste time again with the hemming and hawing. But it's an amazing, amazing, fantastic show. What else did we do? We played games. We played some Mario Kart. So that's been fun, kind of getting back in the groove of that. My brother-in-law's the best at that game. I always fucking eat dust, apparently. Although I did win at Rainbow Road, first place. So I guess I know the
Nice.
tracks that I'm good
Bro,
at.
I've
Yeah,
tried
yeah.
playing Super Mario Kart, like the Super Nintendo version of Mario Kart on my Switch, because you know how Switch gives you like the ability to play old NES, SNES, and Game Boy games. Yeah, I've tried Super Mario Kart, and like I can only win in 50cc. When they get the 100cc, it's real hit or miss. I'm pretty bad at it.
Yeah. I don't blame you, bro. I don't blame you. So yeah, we've just been doing some solid content there. Uh Oh yeah, we did watch one episode. I've been meaning to ask Kirby how he feels about this. We watched one episode of a show, but then my family thought it was too dark and they didn't want to do it anymore. I was curious to continue, but The Girl from Nowhere, which I think is a show from the Philippines, that was actually the one episode was really good, and I've kind of watched a few episodes on my own time since, and I'm like, wow, I like the premise. You and I have been doing more Yu-Gi-Oh! Subbed. We did a bit more this quarter. So that was another thing. We got through the determination arc, determine the semifinal matches, and then we got through Joey versus Merrick. So the next thing we'll be doing is Yugi versus Kaiba whenever we get back to that, which subbed, that duel should be amazing. It's one of my favorite duels in the series, even dubbed. Subbed should take it to a whole other level, I would think. Um, I think I'm gonna put a pin in it there for shows because I can't really remember what much else on the family side. And again, Ashton practically canvassed everything there. So then I would say, as far as music, I listened to Conquer Divide's album recently because I've been meaning to do that because I've been listening to the few releases that they would do, but finally the full album dropped. Not bad. I love Conquer Divide sound. I think they're great. Drown Out, an artist that I'm really excited about. They finally put out their second single. I will say I prefer the song Free, their first single, but Oblivion was the name of this song. Not bad. Not bad. I had mentioned Bad Sisters earlier and how I like their soundtrack. I had posted a song from it that I know Ashton really liked, even said it brought out his stank face. I think that's a direct quote from the Discord. And what was that called? Because I want to give proper credit to the artist there. Man, got so excited I spittled on my fucking monitor there. Let me go up. Yeah, Coulter Wall. Sleeping on the Blacktop from I guess his album Imaginary Appalachia. So really cool. Coulter Wall's only 28 years old and he sounds like he has a voice that he's been doing this for decades. It's really incredible, honestly. So yeah, music's been pretty good. I know Jenny Owens Young put out an album, but I have yet to listen to that. And going back to the BoJack question, they actually used a song from her at the end of season 4 called I think it was just "Wake Up Fine," which is really cool. She does more like uplifting, kind of somber music, melodic stuff like that. So it's very different from what I normally like to listen to, but she's really good. So that's it for music. As far as personal stuff, I went to California this quarter to do a conference. I call it COVID, so that was fun.
Oh,
Air travel was awful.
hooray!
Yeah, I tested negative recently, so I beat the infection. Fuck you, COVID. Um, get your boosters, everybody. Um, and trying to think if there's anything else. And really, I've just been doing reading and stuff like that, but I never really talked to you guys about my nerd shit, and I'm not about to start. So yeah, just doing reading, and that's about it. So there we go. I guess next rotten butter question.
Next rotten butter question. What 6 wrestlers would you pick for a Power Ranger team, and what are their colors?
6 wrestlers for a Power Rangers team, and what are their colors? Seth has dressed like a Power Ranger before, so Seth has to be a part of it.
Which color,
Uh,
though, would you pick for Seth? Because he's worn so
I
many
think
different ones.
I think when he did that one SummerSlam against John Cena and he was in that white and gold, I would make him the White Ranger. So Seth would be the White Ranger for me.
Nice.
Um, let's see. I would make. See, I can't do it yet because she's not with the company. I want to make Kyrie a Power Ranger, but she's not with the company, so I need to be fair. Who's my favorite WWE
Nobody said
woman that's
anything about
currently
it needing
working?
to be WWE, man.
Oh, they didn't? Oh, that's
It's
interesting.
just what
Um,
6 wrestlers would you pick for a Power Rangers team, and what are their colors? Nothing about WWE
uh,
only.
all right, I would say Kyrie for Pink Ranger. Utami for Red Ranger because it's a natural reader and she's the Red Queen. That's right. We're getting a female-led Power Rangers. I'm sure they've already done it, but fuck you, I'm taking this win. Um, so yeah, Seth for white, Utami for red, Coyote for pink. Um, hmm. The Eclipse at Axiom for all six. Uh, let's see. So I did red, pink, and white. So that would leave what? Yellow, green, and blue I could do for my other three
You
colors?
can pick whatever
There's
colors
also
you
black.
want, man. You don't even have to stick with that.
I'll do Santos for the Blue Ranger.
Nice.
Because I'm really I also want to avoid what the original Power Rangers did, and I don't want to make the black guy the Black Ranger or whatever. I'd like to be a bit different than that. So let's see. So Santos will be blue, and then thinking about yellow and green, I'll say yellow would be. You know what? Yellow would be Montez Ford. I
Ooh,
yeah,
interesting. I dig it. He could
yellow.
be like a Tiger Ranger. That's hot.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, I'm answering this question not being a Power Rangers fan at all. This was totally more Ashton's question than my question. But I figure if I just take the bullet first, he probably already knows what he wants to say,
Oh
but I
no,
wanted to
I
give him
have no
time anyway.
clue. It's going to be complete improv on my part, believe me.
Well, it's been complete improv on my part, so no judgment, friend. And then finally for the Green Ranger, I want to troll and say Dominic Mysterio so bad, but
Wait,
I
why
feel
is
like I've
that
put together.
trolling?
Well, because I mean, the guy says chicken tendies. Like it doesn't really scream Power Rangers material.
Oh.
I don't know. Like he would fit in terms of the age, because I know they always want him to be like younger and stuff,
I
and
mean, to
like I
be
just kind of blew
fair,
that in.
there have been comedic Power Rangers, so you could totally pull that off.
You know what? You know what? Since you didn't say WWE, Ali has got to be a Power Ranger. I mean, that dude with how
Okay.
principled he is and with
Oh
his
yeah.
promos, like, yeah, he
Yeah.
fits like the ethos of a Power Ranger perfectly. So I'm gonna say
Nice.
Ali to round out my set. I'm really proud of how I answered this question. That's a great team. I feel safe. I
Yeah.
feel safe with that team.
Yeah.
So, what Power Rangers have you assembled?
So here's all I know. All I know is that my favorite color scheme for Power Rangers is red, blue, yellow, white, black. And because we need six, I'm going to throw in my favorite color, which is purple. So that's going to be the color
Nice.
Power Rangers that I'm going with red, blue, yellow, white, black, purple. So let's see. The Red Ranger is the leader. The Red Ranger usually is the one that kind of pulls the team together when they're feeling down on themselves and can kind of motivate them and stuff like that. So my Red Ranger, let's see, who's good at, let's see, my Red Ranger is going to be Becky Lynch.
Oh, I like that.
There's also
Good
never been a
shit.
red. There's also never been a female Red Ranger before the one that's coming out this year. We're getting our first ever female Red Ranger in the upcoming Power Rangers season. Power Rangers Cosmic Fury is going to introduce the first ever female Red Ranger. But yeah, Becky Lynch would be my Red Ranger. It also fits with
So
like
you're
the
saying
Irish thing as well too. That's kind of perfect.
you're saying we beat them to it because my Red Ranger was Utami and now you're doing Becky, so we beat them
Yeah,
to it
that
by
is
all accounts.
perfect. Yeah, good call.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So okay, the Yellow Ranger doesn't really have a consistent theme. Like the first Yellow Ranger was Trini, and then we got Aisha, and um, God, who else was a Yellow Ranger? God, it's hard for me to remember this stuff. Maya was the Yellow Ranger in Lost Galaxy. They're almost always women, but there have been male Yellow Rangers. Like in Ninja Storm, Dustin was the Yellow Ranger, and he was like an Earth Ranger. So like, there's no real like consistent theme across. I would say the most consistent theme is that Yellow Rangers tend to be pretty cool and pretty chill. So my Yellow Ranger is gonna be who's cool and chill and would look good in yellow. I really loved your Montez Ford pick, by the way. That was brilliant.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, so I'm just like, just put together a good team, and the rest will
You,
sort itself out.
you know what? For not knowing what the hell you were doing, you did a great job.
Thanks.
My Yellow Ranger is going to be. Do I want to just come back to this later and pick someone else right now? Because I'm struggling.
Yeah, you should. You should. Yeah, it'll come to you.
So my mom just said Rhea has to be on there, and I already know she's my Black Ranger, without a doubt.
Yeah.
So that's easy. Rhea's the Black Ranger. And then Sami Zayn can be my White Ranger. So those are easy.
Nice. I like that. Like that.
So I have blue, yellow, and purple left. Um, Blue Ranger is Swerve.
That choice.
Yellow Ranger, I just thought of it. It's Bandito.
Perfect. Perfect.
And of course, my Purple Ranger. I'm giving my favorite wrestler my favorite color. It's Io Sky.
Oh, so perfect. I love that. You have a great team.
All
The
right.
Earth is so safe thanks to us.
Hell yeah. Next question from Rotten Butter. What fictional character do you identify with the most?
Probably BoJack Horseman.
Oh no.
Yeah. I'm a mess. Yeah, I'd say either BoJack or Light Yagami for sure.
Oh,
It's just great
come
stuff.
on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I still support him. I've watched Death Note like 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, you know what? He was right. And so yeah, and then
But the
BoJack, like I said.
obvious correct ending was him losing.
Um, please, just because you use that tone doesn't make it right. But yeah, I'd, I, I'd, s-
Oh,
I'd say yeah,
no.
combination of Light Yagami and BoJack Horseman for me. But if I had to pick one, I would definitely say BoJack. We're both deeply traumatized, deeply broken people, and it's beautiful. So, what about you, bud?
I think you might know yourself better than I do because I don't fucking know.
Aw, we believe in you. You can do this.
What was the question again?
What fictional character do you identify with the most?
Oh, God. No clue. I don't know. I don't. I never do good with these questions because I don't really feel like I have any like really obvious identifying features
Hmm.
other than big, which I don't even like about myself. So like,
I think you're very analytically minded. You break things down in a very like logical way.
which is also something that I'm not exactly stoked about myself on. Like,
Yeah. But you know, I don't know. We can figure this out. Cliff said Abe from Clone High. I cannot confirm or deny because I don't think I've ever watched Clone High. Oh
wouldn't Abe from Clone High be like Abraham Lincoln?
my God, are you Abraham Lincoln? Wait, let me. I have to Google this now.
Yeah, it is Abe Lincoln, voiced by Will Forte. Ew.
Oh. All right, we're gonna figure this out. We should take a BuzzFeed quiz. Which fictional character are you?
That's what it feels like already.
Which fictional character am I? Oh my God, they might actually have quizzes. I'm gonna give you a quiz. We're gonna fucking figure this out. Which character personality quiz? This is from a openpsychometrics.org. Sweet. All right. Let's see. Oh God, we don't have time to do the exhaustive test, so I'm just gonna give you the 36 questions. We're gonna find out what fictional character you are right now. Are you ready for this?
Oh my god, 36? We better make this quick.
Okay. Oh my God, these questions are already hilarious. Use the slider to indicate where you fall on this spectrum. And the spectrum is between creepy and disarming. They're both at 50% right now. So what's your creepy to disarming ratio?
Disarming
Or
100%.
okay. I'm glad that you're like, don't put any creep on me. That ain't fucking
I don't think
happening.
I've ever been called creepy in my life. Or if I have, it was by somebody that I already knew and was friends with, and they knew that it would annoy me, and they were just saying it for that reason.
Fair enough. Use the slider to indicate where you fall on the spectrum. Social 50%, reclusive 50%.
70% reclusive.
I'm starting to wonder if this is even going to give like fictional characters or if they meant characters in a different way. In which case, this test might be useless. Actually, you know what? I should probably vet this test more before we even continue. I thought it
Yeah.
was fictional characters. Was it? Um, which character? But they are not that mean of two people. So this test was created by getting more than 3 million volunteers to describe characters on a variety of different adjective-based scales. They created a database of descriptions for 2,000 characters. Interesting.
You know what? Let me
Um,
do this. Rather than describing who I think I am currently, let me tell you who I strive to be.
sure.
Clark Kent in My Adventures with Superman.
Yeah, he's a pretty fucking great person to strive to be, for sure.
That's my fucking goal right there. Like, obviously, I'm never going to have superpowers, but if I can just be that type of good person, that's my goal right there. Boom.
There you go. All
Okay.
right, next question.
What company do you feel the worst about continuing to support in this corporate hellscape?
Oh God, all of them? Really, probably Amazon because I do a lot of Kindle book buying from there. So I'll say Amazon if I'm
Ah.
thinking about things that I support regularly.
Your Amazon is my Walmart.
Yeah, no, I get it though,
Amazon to
dude.
you
Yeah,
is Walmart to me, man. I order Walmart almost, well, not even almost. I order Walmart literally every single week. I have a yearly subscription to Walmart Plus, so I give them $100 a year just so that I can give them more money and get it delivered to my house more conveniently. Like it is, and I get fuel from Walmart every week or two. Like it's bad. Walmart is probably the like if you judged how much somebody supported a company based exclusively on how much money they gave that company, Walmart would probably be the company I support most in the world.
yeah. It's understandable though, man. No judgment. It's hard.
Yeah. So that's definitely my Walmart for me is Amazon for you. We've got the bugaboos.
Yeah, for sure.
Seventh question from Rotten Butter is am I pregnant?
Yes. I really one of these days I'm gonna answer this question. It's gonna end me up on a fucking watch list or some shit. It's gonna be like, did you say yes to this question? I thought it was me. Jeez.
It's a JT sex kick video. It's actually a video that I've watched multiple times. It's kind of hilarious because it's just him going through a bunch of like Quora questions where they're people asking if they're pregnant or how they can tell if they're pregnant or not, but like everything's misspelled and he reads it very literally. So it's like, am
Yeah.
I pregnant? Am I prangent? Am I pregagnant? Like, am I pregante? Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, so then the next one, question number 8 is, where is my super suit?
I stole it. I'm sorry. I don't know what's
It's from
happening.
The Incredibles.
Uh, that's okay.
And the final question is, actually, I don't recognize this one. Did you come in my burrito? It's from Always Sunny.
God, James probably did, but I definitely didn't.
Okay.
Um,
Final set of
yeah.
questions are from Galatea. First one is for you, John. Have you even read the Iliad or the Odyssey? And why does
Oh my,
Agamemnon suck so much?
oh my God, it just doesn't end. Okay,
she,
do I want to
bro,
give the
how
really?
often does Galatea ask questions? We have to encourage her to keep doing it.
I know, and I love her. I love her so much. I want to give a really toxic answer, but at the same time, it's her, and I'm like, I'm really, really trying to resist the urge. So I'm just gonna say, no, I haven't, and no, he doesn't, and let's just move on. Because if we don't, I'm gonna go off. Because this Agamemnon slander is offensive to me.
The final question of the Q&A is also going to probably be the longest, if not at least like the second longest behind the Rotten Butter one. And it is, Tony Khan has abandoned his promotion. You are now in charge of AEW. How would you guys book the roster? What would you do differently? What stays the same? So this is what sparked our conversation about fantasy booking questions, is because Gala wanted to ask one, and I'm like, you know what? She's only asking 2 questions, and if this is one of them, it's better than having to answer another 13. You know?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. With that context, yeah, it makes a lot more sense. Really, Gala, because I don't want to like hem and haw too much on this question, and I do still feel a bit weary of fantasy booking questions. But if you're just asking, like, okay, so he's abandoned the company, we're pretty much restructuring it. First things first, obviously, you emphasize the women. And really, maybe even first of all, not even counting the product, if I really want to give you an exhaustive answer and a substantive answer, which I do, because again, like Ashton said, you rarely ask questions, and we would like that to change. First of all, I'd go on a PR campaign to just talk about the mistakes of the old AEW, publicly apologize to Swole, clean up the locker room culture, between the fights of like Sammy Guevara, CM Punk's whole shit, which I know he's out of the company now, but the damage is probably lingering if I had to guess. Um, so yeah, I would just go on a whole PR campaign and I would change things like internally, really clean things up, all that stuff. So that would be a big thing for me. And then as far as the actual product itself goes, definitely emphasize the women, maybe even change Collision to like an all women show. Possibly. I don't know. That's something I'm kind of, racking around in my brain. Um I I think I would get rid of either Dark or Elevation because I think they're both still going.
No,
I
they're
would
both
get rid
gone.
of
They've
one.
both no longer
Oh, they're both going.
existed for months now. Yeah.
Okay, well that was one thing because like I hate when a wrestling promotion. This is still kind of grinds my gears about WWE when it's just oversaturated with content. Um, and also I don't know if what I'm about to say makes any sense, so I might be struggling for words, and I apologize. But I would kind of streamline my storytelling a little bit. Like I don't like that the storytelling is like you should watch the YouTube videos and you should watch this, you watch that. I would really make it more compact. I would really, solidify it and consolidate it. So like you could just watch Dynamite and maybe occasionally our YouTube channel just for like maybe Dynamite recaps or even storyline recaps, which to AEW's credit, they've started to do. They've started uploading like whole videos, sometimes like over an hour and 10 minutes, documenting like a whole feud and like the seminal moments of a feud or a storyline. I actually think that's really smart. So I will give them credit for that. And I would definitely keep that in place. But yeah, I still feel like sometimes there's just a bit too much dependence on like you got to watch this and you got to watch this. Like it shouldn't be that difficult to follow a story. There's a very fine line between having depth and being convoluted, and I think part of how that line gets drawn is in the presentation. Um, I don't think AEW has too many titles. New Japan definitely does. But thinking about AEW, I don't think they have too many titles right now.
Should I go
So I
over
don't
them?
think I would get. Yeah, sure.
So on the men's side, there's the world tag, there's the international, there's the TNT, and there's the world trios. And then on
Okay,
the
yeah, that is a
women's
lot.
side, there's the world and the TBS.
Okay, so I'd probably get rid of the TNT title, honestly. I like the international title, and I'd probably want to give it more, really emphasize the international part. Would really want to reach out and get and get parties, wrestlers from Germany, from parts of Africa, just globally, just globally. I would really want to push that. TNT title, I don't know. Maybe I would like substitute it for like, I don't know, a more properly recognized mid card title. I don't know. Also, I probably would just get rid of the FTW title because that is another championship in circulation because
Yeah.
Hook did regain it. So I'd probably just get rid of that altogether, actually, now that I think about it. Um, let's see, they do Dynamite and they do Rampage. God, I kind of want to be minimalist, really. Like that's kind of my whole vision when I think about as a whole. What is one word if I was governing any wrestling company? And really, it's just minimal because I do believe that less is more. When you look at the average attention span today and stuff, when you're so spread out, I feel like it's just going to lose people. So again, it goes back to consolidating the content. I'm tempted, honestly, to get rid of Rampage. To get rid of Rampage. You said Dark and Elevation were already gone. I would stick by that. Collision, I would either get rid of or again just repurpose as like an all women show, which is headlined by like the AEW Women's Champion and the TBS Women's Champion, which maybe I would even consolidate those belts and bring it back down to one. I don't know. I just feel like less is more, and I would definitely have a minimalist philosophy. So those are more ambiguous questions that I'm not really settled on, but just putting it out there for the record. Um, emphasize the women across shows because women's wrestling is a draw, and I want to ride that wave as long as I can. Um, have some kind of a developmental system or something like behind the scenes. I don't want to
They
bring anybody
technically
up
do
until they're
already.
TV. What do they have? Is it
The
like?
Nightmare Factory.
Oh, right, right. I mean, yeah, they have something, and I'll give them that. Um, I really can't think of much else right now. I'll also get a goddamn writer's room. That's one thing. Like, I would be very selective about creative autonomy. The way I look at it is creative autonomy is a privilege, not a right. If you can show me that you're drawing, if you can show me that you're improving the gate, if you can show me that, you're really putting on your best face for the company in terms of like PR and conducting yourself well on Twitter and stuff, then we could say, all right, and if I'm liking like how you're delivering the promos that are already being written and stuff and how you're performing in feuds, then maybe we talk about creative autonomy. But some of these people need fucking writers and some of these people need to be reined in. So I would definitely have that infrastructure. And I think I'm gonna put a pin in it there. I think I've hit mainly the main points, and sometimes you say something that like will spark something in me, and I'm like, oh, that's a good point, and I may piggyback off that, but I think I'm good. So what about you, man? What would be your vision for AEW if you just got to take the company and restructure it?
I am currently counting how many people are in the company so that I can know how many people I'm firing.
There you go.
80,
Not a bad way to start.
100, 122, 122 men,
Yeah.
and 34 women. 122 men to only 34 women. So
Damn.
122 men, 34 women. All right. Now it's time to go through and make some cuts, baby. So actually, what I would really do is the first thing that I would do is I would basically do what you did, and I would hold a press conference. Well, technically, the first thing I would do is hire Leon Slater, and then I would have him appear at the press conference. But the rest of the press conference would be kind of a State of the Union address. I would apologize for the previous regime's misdeeds. And then I would get to work making cuts. So, cuts. I'm going by the AEW roster page on their website. I'm just going to go in alphabetical order, and I will name everybody that I'm getting rid of. Aaron Solo, gone. Action Andretti, gone. Alex Reynolds, gone. Angelo Parker, gone. Anthony Ogogo, gone. Ari Davari. I'm a little iffy on Ari Davari, but you know what? If I'm iffy on someone, it's more likely that they should go. Gone. Both Gun. I'm going to start with Austin Gunn. Gone. Let's see. Billy Gunn. Gone. Brandon Cutler. Gone. Brock Anderson. Gone. Let's see here. Who next? We'll keep Jericho around as a mentor. God, actually, no. Ah, fuck. Do we cut Jericho, John?
I really don't like him as a person, but I do think as a talent he has value. I just think again he's one of the people that actually in my mind needs to be reined in.
Yeah. All right. So
Um,
the next cut is Colton Gunn. Gone. Danhausen. Gone. We'll keep Daniel Garcia around strictly because of his upside, but man, does he need a lot of direction. We're keeping Top Flight. We're keeping FTR. Dustin Rhodes, get the fuck out of here. Ethan Page, gone. Evil Uno, gone. Griff Garrison, gone. Jack Perry, go fuck yourself, gone. Jake Hager, gone. I'll start with Jeff Hardy, gone. Jeff Jarrett, gone. John Silver, gone. Kip Sabian, gone. Luther, how is he still on the payroll? Gone. Let's see here. Matt Hardy, gone. Matt Menard, gone. Matt Seidel, gone. Matt Taven, gone. Michael Nakazawa, gone. Mike Bennett, gone. You know what? Mr. Brody Lee Jr. is never going to be on TV again. We can keep him and his mother on the payroll and we'll make sure that they're set for life. but because they're still listed as being on the roster, as well as Mr. Brody Lee being still listed on the roster, I'm going to subtract them as well because I don't want to include them as being part of the active roster because that's fucking weird. Nick Camarado, gone. Nick Wayne, gone. Parker Boudreaux, how is he still listed on the roster? Gone. Paul White isn't really on the roster, so I'm going to just add him to the list of people who are gone also. Peter Avalon, gone. Preston Vance, gone. Prince Nana isn't an active wrestler, so I'm removing him as well. QT Marshall, gone. Let's see here. Oh, Sammy Guevara, baby, you are out of here. Serpentico, gone. Stu Grayson, gone. The Butcher and the Blade, both gone. Tony Nese, gone. And whoever the fuck Zach Clayton is, he's gone as well. Would you like to know how many men we cut, John?
That sounded like a lot. How many, partner?
46.
Good, though, because that ratio that you said earlier, you said it was 122 men to 34 women?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
So we're down to 76 men now. As far as
And then
women
think about
go,
how much, yeah.
As far as women go, I think the only women that I would want to cut would be Abaddon, Harley Cameron. That might be it. Abaddon, Harley Cameron. Oh, Madison Rain, Marina Shafir. Okay, so that's 4. Why is Paige Van Zant even listed on this roster? She hasn't worked for them in years at this point. So that's 5. Rebel, that's 6. We'll keep Ty around because she has a Brazilian built-in fan base. The Bunny can stick around. I know she's talented. So that's okay. So we're cutting 6 women. So women, we're going from 34 to 28. So okay. So we're going from 122 and 34 down to 76 and 28.
And I was going to say, too, think about all the money you just freed up that you could buy other talents that you'd want either for your women's division or for your men's. So, like, yeah, you probably saved a good bit of money, too, I would have to imagine. So, good first, good second move, because I know you agreed with me about the press conference and just the PR tour. So,
and
good shit.
Cliff is suggesting that I cut Saraya. The only reason I'm not cutting Saraya is because she has a huge built-in fan base left over from her WWE days, and I would fucking rein her ass in. I wouldn't let her run the fucking locker room the way that she probably does right now. That's for goddamn sure. Realistically, Mercedes Martinez is the leader of this locker room.
I like that. Absolutely.
So those are the cuts, and I wanted to make sure to cut first because you gotta make sure that people know that like they can't just act like they're the cock of the walk backstage and that they're the shit. Because at the end of the day, they could go too. Like it's you got to get control of the locker room first, Tony. Anyway, so then as far as like hirees go, I really don't know. I really wanted Leon Slater to be the first big one because why the fuck didn't Tony hire him at the same time that he hired Nick fucking Wayne? That's absurd. But like after that, I really don't know who I would hire, honestly. I would definitely want to bring back Darius Lockhart. I know that he's a big name that I would want to bring in. But really, other than that, I don't know. I mean, Ali at this point for sure. Mustafa Ali, now that he's out of WWE, bring him in for sure. Bring in fucking Rick Boogs and Elias. Those 3 guys are like the easiest decisions ever. Ziggler, absolutely not. No. But like those other 3 guys for sure, I would love to bring them in. I would definitely want to look at women because I feel like still, like we still have like almost like a 3-to-1 ratio of men to women. I want it to be closer to like even. I would really like to have a lot more women. We only cut 6 women. We cut what was it, 46 men? We got like almost 8 times as many men as women, and we still have almost 3 times as many women or men as we do women. So yeah, I would want to bring in women. Queen Amanita, I absolutely love. I definitely would want to bring her in. Trisha Dora is another one. I think they actually both work Ring of Honor, but I don't think they have contracts. So that's kind of the problem there. I would throw all the money in the world at Mercedes Moné and be like, listen, you have full creative control. You can do whatever the fuck you want. If you want someone to script your promos for you, I will hire you a personal script writer. We can do this. Like, you are the fucking key. Jamie Hayter is being pushed to the moon. Like, we're gonna get this women's division turned around for sure, right?
Absolutely.
And then I would probably put more of an emphasis on Joshi. We have a relationship with TJPW. We're gonna start fucking using it again. We already have Maki Ito and Yuka Sakazaki already both kind of have established relationships with the AEW audience. Yuka is currently injured, so that means that Maki Ito's getting a little bit of a push, maybe TBS champion level push. I do like Statlander though, to be fair. I don't want to like try and bury her or anything. I do like her. I would say Miyu Watanabe needs to make some AEW appearances. We need to fucking establish Miyu Yamashita to the audience before we go just randomly shoving her in a championship match against our women's champion in the dead spot of an episode of Dynamite that no one's going to give a fuck about because they don't even know who the hell she is. I think Athena as the ROH Women's Champion needs to start making more appearances on both Dynamite and Collision. I think it's absurd that Claudio as the ROH World Champion was able to show up on both shows and even defend his world title on both shows, but we literally have not seen Athena on either of those shows for anything other than a tournament to determine the next TBS, or was it AEW? Basically to determine a different champion since, like, I think it's November. Did you know about that?
No, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, Athena has literally only been on one of the major actual television shows for that one tournament where she faced, I think it was Willow Nightingale on the one episode of Rampage. Let me look this up. AEW. Here it was. It was the fucking Owen tournament. That's what it was. So she appeared on one singular episode of Rampage in June to beat Billy Starks, right? Actually, it was to lose to Willow Nightingale. That's what it was. She appeared on one episode of Rampage in July to lose to Willow Nightingale in the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. And that is the only episode of AEW television that Athena has appeared on, going all the way back until, I believe, November. And yeah, it was November. And if you want to go even further than that, if we exclude Rampage, which is very clearly the C show, you would have to go all the way back to October for the last time Athena got TV time on AEW.
That's just ridiculous.
And she's the fucking ROH Women's Champion.
There's been a long-running one, too, and a dominant one, making great content. AEW's just leaving that on the table.
And meanwhile, Claudio Castagnoli was the ROH World Champion. So, literally the exact same level champion just for the men. And he has defended that ROH World title on AEW television multiple times, including losing the title on AEW TV just a couple Dynamites ago.
Yeah, I like Claudio, nothing against him, but that disparity is inexcusable.
It's absurd. So, yeah, and the worst thing to me is that, like, Claudio defended his title against Commander on an episode of Rampage a few months ago, but other than that, he really hasn't defended the title. But he still appeared on basically every single episode of Dynamite, and even, I think, an episode or two of Collision since its inception. while being the AEW or while being the ROH World Champion. And meanwhile, Athena does not show up on AEW TV at all ever. She's never on the shows. So even if you want to argue like, oh, Claudio almost never defends the ROH World Title on AEW television, it's like, okay, but he's still always on the show, and Athena never fucking is. So where's the justification for that?
Exactly.
So yeah, I think Athena needs to be much more featured. When Jamie Hayter comes back healthy, she needs to get pushed to the moon. Fans love Hikaru Shida. She needs to get pushed. Statlander's in a good spot. We need to get the title off of Saraya immediately. I would low key. It is very tempting to just like at the next pay per view. What is it? Full Gear? Is it Full Gear in November? Is that the one?
I thought so.
I would probably just have Mercedes Martinez beat her for the title on that show.
That makes sense, yeah.
Or another option would be to have Discord sewn through the Outcasts to split that team up. We already have Tony Storm basically out of the squad. I would sow Discord between Ruby and Saraya and maybe even have Ruby win the title as a babyface.
Oh, I like that.
So there's a lot that could be done there. As far as the men's titles, I mean, obviously they're committed to this whole bidding war of 2024 garbage. Fuck, man, I hate it, but they've committed so much to it that it would feel weird to just drop it. I don't even know what they're going to do with that. You are far more familiar with that situation than me, so in your mind, what exactly is going to happen with the whole bidding war of 2024 thing, John?
I mean, to be honest, bro, I've kind of lost some certainty myself, and that's only because they seem to have committed, for the time being at least, to an MJF face turn. I don't know how you navigate being a babyface and inciting a bidding war because it's very different from CM Punk's 2011 storyline at Money in the Bank. CM Punk wasn't exactly a martyr, at least not at that point, but he was a dissident. You know, he was somebody that spoke out against the company and his treatment and the treatment of released superstars. Because remember the promos where he would just, mention people that got released. Um, and so, yeah, if you want to make it a story, I mean, you're the world champion. You're currently a babyface. Unless they go back to him being a heel, then it's simple. He laughs about how he's gonna ruin AEW and he's gonna make so much money and he'll be the last ever AEW champion. And then whatever babyface you've built up, which honestly I would still, if they could reboot Wardlow and build him up, that'd be great because he was one of the few people to actually beat MJF straight up and dominantly, I might add. So it'd be nice if they could actually do a proper story for Wardlow this time because he got screwed out of the first one because of the whole convention controversy with like MJF leaving and then like, oh, did he get on the plane? Didn't he get on the plane? All that bullshit. If he's a babyface, I don't know how you navigate it. It's so much more straightforward if he's a heel, but as a face, I don't know. You could just say that, maybe, I don't know. It's difficult because I don't know how you make that come off as like a heroic thing unless you give Tony Khan more TV time and you make him seem like a heel, which I fucking hate that idea. Like I am just, my body viscerally rejects it. So yeah, bro, just,
Okay.
I don't know.
So here's what I
Yeah.
would do then. You gave me all of the food that I needed to be able to make a meal out of this. All right.
Nice.
So Max and Adam are friends right now, but we did just get an angle last night where Jay White got kidnapped, and whoever kidnapped him was wearing the devil mask that MJF wears all the time. So it's like they're trying to frame MJF. They're trying to make it seem like it was MJF that kidnapped Jay White, right? This storyline plays out, whatever. I don't have any idea where they're actually going with it, but the way I would do it is you have it be revealed that Adam Cole and the Kingdom were behind the kidnapping. And MJF gets upset about this. He's like, what the hell, man? I was going to have a match with him. I was going to beat him fair and square. Do you not believe in me? And Adam goes, of course I believe in you. What are you talking about? I was just trying to make it easier for you. They get into an argument. They end up going their separate ways. They don't like split up, so to speak. It's more just like a break. Like they just need some time to cool off. But then we see MJF get beat down by guys wearing the devil masks. That's the Kingdom. Adam Cole's angry at them, but then we get a face down where Adam and MJF are in the ring facing down with the guys in the devil masks. They take them off. It's revealed to be the Kingdom. Adam turns on MJF. We get a multiple on one beatdown on MJF. MJF is left just fucking shook. He is distraught in the ring. He's like crying. He looks like he is like the most vulnerable he's ever been, the most destroyed he's ever been. This leads to a singles match, MJF versus Adam Cole at Full Gear. MJF retains by cheating because Here's why. He doesn't have any reason to care about anyone anymore. He has no reason to give a fuck about anyone, including the fans anymore. He has gone from heel to face to super heel. Adam turning on him has shown him that he has no reason to trust anyone anymore. He is now unhinged. He is the biggest piece of shit he's ever been. He has no reason to even go for low hanging fruit anymore because he doesn't care about anyone anymore. All he gives a fuck about right now is that he is going to be the AEW World Champion for life because he's going to hold it until he gets the fuck out of this horrid company and he's able to leave and go get more money somewhere else. And then 2024 rolls around, and who is the savior of AEW? It's Hangman Page. He is the one that defended the company from CM Punk when nobody believed it. He's the one that got CM Punk to go full unhinged and be a jackass. And he was the one that fucking made CM Punk scared for his life. And he was afraid that Hangman was going to shoot on him. And Hangman is finally the one that is able to put an end to the reign of terror of MJF. And who is the one that eventually, maybe at the end of 2024, gets to beat Hangman for the belt? It's Swerve. That's your lineage right there. We go MJF to Hangman to Swerve. And MJF can fuck off and he can go sign with WWE and make his millions elsewhere. I really don't care. But that's what we're doing with the world title. With the AEW International Championship, I don't know. I think Moxley just got concussed, so he's probably going to be back within the month. I would say have Phoenix beat him clean again in the defense, and then have Bandito be the one to beat Phoenix for that title. Because we're kind
I
of
like
talking
that.
about like who
Yeah.
our pillars are going to be and stuff like that. I think Bandito makes for a great pillar. Christian Cage TNT champion. I think the obvious way to go with that is to have Luchasaurus turn on him and beat him for the TNT title so that he can actually be the champion. And
Oh,
then
absolutely.
yeah, and I would have Brian Cage be the one to beat Luchasaurus for the title. I love the big hosses. Like if we're going to keep both of those titles, I want to give them identities. Let the international title be an international title, and let the TNT title be the Hoss title in my mind. You know.
There you go. I like that.
As far as the tag titles, fuck FTR. They're so fucking boring. I swear to God, I don't want to see them anymore. So I would have the Gates of Agony be the ones to beat them. I don't know how soon I would have it happen because I don't know how long their title reign's been going on for. Too long in my mind, regardless. But Gates of Agony would be my pick to beat them because I just want Mogul Embassy to do everything. And then for the trios titles, I mean the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn, they're mostly harmless. But at the end of the day, once Ray Phoenix loses that international title, I want Death Triangle to get those titles back.
Yeah.
And then I want them to feud with House of Black over them. So like that's my big thing. So and then yeah, as far as the TBS title goes, Statlander is current champion. I would really want to build up towards a Miyu Watanabe title reign for that actually. Because I think that Miyu would be a great opponent for Chris because Chris is a bigger woman, and seeing Miyu swing someone that size would be a really cool spectacle. So I would want to build towards a Miyu Watanabe winning that title. So that would be how I would handle it going forward. And obviously there would be a whole hell of a lot of improvisation that would have to happen on the way. That was our final question though, bud. Then we're done.
Sweet. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Next Q&A should be December 28th. Yes, December 28th will be the final Q&A for the year 2023. So pretty wild. And yeah, so just, you guys know all the rules for Q&A. I don't have to break them down. What was that?
I said, bro, it's so close.
Yeah, dude, I know. We
Like
really zipped through
2024 is
2023.
almost over. 2023 is almost over.
Yeah, that's wild. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to leave a like as you file out, subscribe, click the bell icon for notifications so you don't miss any of that 12 goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Follow us on Twitter and Twitch because we are the best wrestling podcast in all the IWC. Now, this weekend is going to be nuts because starting tomorrow, which I know isn't part of the weekend, but still, Friday at 4 p.m., we're going to be going live with Stardom's September 24th show. Just before the 5-star Grand Prix finals. Then at 8, we're going to be meeting up with the Discord, obviously, for games and chill. But then 3 a.m. Saturday morning into, Friday night into Saturday morning, it is the 5-star Grand Prix finals. It's going to be wild. I'm really hoping now that Mina wins the tournament, given that Utami is out. God, it again has really sucked supporting Queen's Quest this year because it's been rough. So hopefully Mina wins that. But yeah, we'll be covering the entire 5-star event, 3 a.m. Friday night to Saturday morning. Then 10:30 Saturday, we'll be doing TwitWoW in review. So yeah, I don't know if it'll be any more energetic than last week. I'm thinking it will because I think there were some good things this week so far, and I'm sure we'll probably have more to say about the 5 star. But then yeah, that's our last commentary for the week. So that rounds out our week for this week. Thank you guys again for joining us. We'll see you again for Q&A on December 28th. And again, if you're a Stardom fan, Friday into Saturday, big stuff because again, 4 p.m. doing 924 show, 3 a.m. Friday night into Saturday morning. We're doing the 5 star. So be sure 5 star finals that is. So be sure to join us. Until then, be good to yourselves and each other. Tune in and peace out.